Remember, we just got so disorganized. You know what I mean? Guys were scattered all over, and you didn't know where anybody was. And some guys were up in front of me, even some guys were over this way. And keep it low and everything like that. I can remember. I can remember sitting there, laying on the ground, a prone position. After we kind of like got out of that depression in the ground, we kind of tried to move forward. And I can remember a hand grenade rolling right out of those woods, a hand grenade. And the guy next to me, and him and I rolled opposite directions, and that thing went off, right? And it caught him. I can remember that grenade catching him, but still couldn't get out. He had to lay there all night, with a wound. And I can remember we laid there like all night long,
Wow.
and we finally get out the next morning. But we had a colonel with us. They got killed. I can remember him. He had grenades on him or something, or flares and things like that, and he caught on fire.
Wow.
I can remember that, seeing him up there. And after reading this book, I found out who the guys were, because there were some guys I didn't know who they were. I know their names, all the guys. And I can remember, reading that book now. He said, "Oh yeah, this happened. This happened." This one was a sergeant. I think it was Adams was the name. Maybe he took off with some other people up in the distance to try to go forward. They never came back. He got killed. I found out later,
Wow.
And it's scary stuff.
So you were a heavy gunner, right?
Well, just an infantryman.
Oh, you were a rifleman?
That's all.
Okay.
Rifleman. 11B20.
Right.
That's your MOS.
Yeah.
As a rifleman, 11B20. Yeah. But the one guy, I can remember, like, there's 4 guys on that wall, and 3 of them got killed right there. And this one guy, Luis Perez, a little Mexican guy, he was old enough, he was 23. He got hit, and after we were able to kind of like start moving a little bit, after the shooting died down a little bit, we actually moved. And I can remember crawling up to Luis. He'd been hit. I crawled up to him, and I laid my body on top of him, and I said, "Lou," he was just going all over the place. He was like this. I tried to calm him down, put my body on top of him. I said, Lou, calm down. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. He was in shock. He had been hit. I didn't realize how bad. And then the medic came over and gave him a shot, and he kind of calmed down. And I said, then all of a sudden, I'm looking at the medic, and I go, "I don't think he's alive." And the medic goes, "No, he's okay. I just gave him a shot. He calmed down. He's quiet." I said, "No." And he was dead right there. I realized in that book that Lewis had been shot in the head.
Wow.
And I didn't realize it, And then Bobby Young, there's another guy, Bobby Young, he's from Kentucky. He got killed that day too. And the other there was two other guys that let's see, Tom DeTamble. He didn't get killed then, but the one other guy, two of the guys that I know that I at the wall. I've been down to the wall many times. They got killed there.
Wow.
And it just I can remember finally getting out of there like 10 hours later, and I can still see Lewis. I was behind him, and they had him in a poncho, and he wasn't fully covered. 2 guys were carrying him. I could still see him. His head bobbing back and forth, and he was dead right there in that poncho. And when I finally got out of there, it was an open field, and all the guys that got killed were in that field. They had all these body bags right there, and I sat almost in the middle of those body bags and looking around. And Tom, I can always remember Bobby Young had a watch. And I swear to this day, I didn't go to look, but I swear to this day, I could still see that watch, because Bobby had his hand was outside the body bag, and that watch was on his hand. And I can still remember that. That's how I said, "That's Bobby," And he's up in Kentucky now. I actually found his grave when I was in West Virginia, and it's sad.
So it was nighttime, and dawn is when you guys broke contact.
When we finally got out of there. It was dawn when we were going in there, and it got dark quick. Same, we laid there all night,
Wow.
and I could hear screams. I could hear, guys in agony that got hit and stuff, wanting water, wanting a dust off to come in. You know what a dust off is? Dust off is the term for a helicopter coming in
Right.
to pick you up. Dust off, and you could hear them, and all night long. And then we finally got out of there. I believe it was 196th Light Infantry came in and started helping us and picking snipers out of trees and things like that. Yeah. And we're left. The worst part of that was a full moon.
Right.
Boy,
So you had full illumination. There's no cover there.
Did I curse that moon that night?
Wow.
I don't know if I wanted the blackness or I wanted to see. You know what I mean? But I think it was the moon was so bright. That scared me more than the darkness.
Right.
Because I could see, But actually, years later when I read a little about it, I don't think they were a type of force that had us pinned down that would get up and charge.
Yeah.
That many. I don't think they had that many people.
They're just well positioned.
Well positioned and enough guns to pin us down and keep us down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were a large force, they could have just ran right over and killed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting for that. And I was thinking about that.
That was all night you were thinking about that?
Oh, God almighty. When you're in that kind of position, what goes through your mind? Your life, your family, your mother, Every time you turn around, he leaves. Yeah. But it was a scary, Sean,
Yeah.
You're just waiting for that bullet, and and I think about them guys, why wasn't it me, I don't know. I probably, I think this one guy and a couple guys stood up and exposed themselves more. I didn't want to expose myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it would have zeroed in on you because you didn't know where they were. If I could see them, if I would have seen them, you would have stood up and started shooting,
Right.
But many times in Vietnam, you'd shoot off in the distance and didn't even see them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You maybe get a glimpse of them, so you shoot. But they were always an unseen enemy.
Right.
In Vietnam. They really were. Like in Iraq, it was the same thing, right? You never saw them half the time, right?
Right.
Yeah. But they seen you sometimes. I think that's why it was in Vietnam. They seen you because they could always hear them choppers coming in. Here they come, and they're gonna, making all that noise, and they seen you, but you never seen them. So.
So how many months do you have left after that?
Well, let's see. I finally got out of the field. I think I had to. It's November '66. I had till May of '67, and then I went. I finally got out, and then I went to Fort Hood.
Okay.
So I spent the last 6 months in the States.
Wow. Good.
Yeah. Well, that's what your time in Vietnam was a year only.
Right.
Unless you take a second tour. I wasn't about to. I got wounded twice. I wasn't going to take a second tour. So many guys did that. And got killed, the second tour, the third tour. They wanted to stay out there in that field. No. You did it for a year, you did enough.
Mm-hmm. So you remember when it was time to go?
You're called short timer.
Yep.
You got a stick. Did you get one?
No.
Yeah, you got a stick. When you had like 90 days left, say you had 3 months left, you got a stick like this. Right? Then you got down to 60 days, you cut it off. So it was that shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And you got down to 30 days, you cut it off, right? Be that shirt. And you could tell, the guys could tell who you were, how long time you had. There's a short timer stick that had a little eagle on the top, and you pretty soon you're walking around with one like this, and then you're walking around one like this, and the guys go, "All right, you're going home, right?"
Yeah.
And that was the greatest thing, when you finally went home. You had to turn in your uniform, you know, and finally get all your papers.
This is in.
Just fly out of Vietnam. I mean, I can still remember flying out of Vietnam. Wow.
What was that like?
Oh my God. I don't know. Just a relief, kind of a how the hell did I lie? How did I live? You know. Oh, and of course, what goes through your mind is those guys that died. Man, oh man, because you're getting up in that plane, you're looking down there, and you go, those guys, you know, they were home for me though,
Right.
but they came home in a casket, you know, and you just so many things go through your mind about you just making it. How'd you make it? Why was it you? You know, you came so close to dying, and you know, and some of those guys didn't make it. So scary stuff.
Mm.
And then you get to California and you get off that plane and kiss the ground.
Yeah.
We all did that. Yeah, it was a great thing, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wish that when I was in Dallas, when I left Dallas, I wish I kind of like instead of going home right away, that I would have went toward. I always wanted to see where JFK got shot in Dallas and things like that. Just take a slow bus all the way back.
Mm.
But I wanted to get home, you know. So, but it was nice.
Yeah.
I went to the Bob Hope Christmas show. Did I tell you in '66? Yeah.
That was in.
Coochie, yeah.
Coochie.
And my grandmother, my mother came when I came home. My mother said, "Grandma swore she saw you on TV," and she described where I was standing. And I said, "Yeah, it was. I wasn't in the crowd. I was on this podium that stood real high,
Huh.
and they scanned everybody. And my grandmother said she saw me, but I doubt it. You know. So it's an experience, boy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad I served. Like I say in that article, you know, I went with no hesitation.
Right.
But came home with a whole different view of Vietnam.
Yeah.
You know, why those guys died and what did we solve? What did we get out of it? I would rather fought World War II, but you know, just a kind of a wasted war.
Mm.
You know, you probably thought about that, right? Too, or where you were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? And in this this country that doesn't have anything, you know, we're fighting over there for what? I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, sad.